Breaking right now, Vice President Harris's campaign, which just began today, has announced a whopping $81 million fundraising haul since she entered the race. That is the largest 24-hour total.
The political landscape right now is heating up faster than a popcorn maker at a movie marathon, and it's delivering some truly wild moments. Vice President Kamala Harris officially launched her campaign and immediately made headlines, raising a staggering $81 million in just 24 hours. That's a record-breaking haul, folks. You could practically hear the panic alarms going off at Trump campaign headquarters, especially with MAGA Republicans going into full meltdown mode. Meanwhile, over in the Trump camp, Donald Trump's VP pick, jdvance, was busy giving a speech in Middletown, Ohio that was so mind-numbingly boring, even Fox News had to cut away from it. Can you imagine how bad it has to be for Fox to pull the plug on their own VP candidate? The speech was filled with awkward attempts at humor, with Vance quipping about having a Diet Mountain Dew and sarcastically suggesting that it could be considered racist. It was like watching someone bomb a stand-up set, except instead of crickets, there was an audience half-heartedly clapping.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good. I love you guys. But
even worse, the speech gave off some serious Jeb Bush, please clap vibes. When you need to ask for applause in politics, you know things aren't going well. It seems Trump might be second-guessing his pick already. You can almost picture him muttering, "Why did I pick this guy?" as he watches Vance flounder on stage. MAGA Republicans were hoping for fire, but instead, they got a damp sparkler. But the real kicker of the event, a MAGA speaker preceding Vance's speech, took things to a whole new level of ridiculousness, openly threatening civil war if Trump loses in 2024. Yes, you read that right, civil war. They screamed, "Fight, fight, fight," as if they were at a wrestling match instead of a political rally.
Fight! Fight! We got time, come on! Hey, we are in the fight for the soul of our nation. We are in a fight for our kids and our grandkids, a fight that we can never imagine. I believe wholeheartedly Donald Trump and Butler County's J.D. Vance are the last chance to save our country politically. I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will be.
You'd think after the events of January 6th, they'd cool it on the insurrection talk, but nope. Instead, it's become their go-to tantrum whenever things don't go their way, like kids threatening to run away from home because they didn't get dessert. It's as if they've completely skipped over the lessons of democracy, like, say, respecting election results, and gone straight to, if we don't win, we riot. Alarming doesn't even begin to cover it. It's like watching someone light a match and wondering why the whole room smells like gasoline. And then, MAGA's own Mike Johnson stepped in to further muddy the waters, threatening litigation to prevent Kamala Harris from winning. On the one hand, Johnson claims they're ready to face Harris in a general election, but on the other, they're preparing to flood the courts with lawsuits.
And in some of the states, there are impediments to just switching someone out like that. 14 million people went through the process and chose this nominee, Joe Biden. Now a handful of people have gotten together and decided he's no longer suitable. That's not how this system works. They are violating democratic principles. And I think that's a real problem, and I think there'll be a lot.
If they're so confident about beating Harris, why all the legal fireworks? It's like they can't decide whether to declare war, file lawsuits, or do both, maybe even simultaneously. Watching them flail around is a bit like seeing a toddler throw a tantrum because they don't want to go to bed. First, they scream about civil war like it's a viable campaign strategy. Then they pivot to threatening litigation as if they're the world's most disgruntled lawyers. Honestly, it's hard to tell if they want to storm the Capitol again or just file so many lawsuits that they drown in their own paperwork. The indecision is almost comical. Do they want to battle it out in court or in the streets? It's like watching a kid throw their toys around, unsure whether they want to play with them or just break them. The drama is real, but the strategy? Not so much. It's a chaotic spectacle, complete with legal threats and wild calls to action. Except none of it makes sense. Fox News then had a quick moment of self-awareness, cutting away from Vance to offer commentary, but even they couldn't hide their confusion about the MAGA Civil War rhetoric. It's clear they're trying to juggle both supporting Trump and maintaining a semblance of sanity for viewers who aren't into the whole "we're going to declare war if we lose" vibe. And all this while Kamala Harris is quietly raising over $100 million in record time. It's no wonder the MAGA camp is freaking out. They know Harris is a force to be reckoned with, and that her presence at the top of the Democratic ticket is a threat to their disjointed strategy. In the midst of all this chaos, jdvance stands as a symbol of the disconnect within Trump's camp. His phony, hillbilly persona, which many have called out as a complete fabrication, does little to inspire confidence. It's like picking the guy who claims to be from the rough streets, only to find out he grew up in a cushy suburb and worked in Silicon Valley. Vance's hillbilly elegy narrative is being exposed as more of a political PR stunt than reality. To make things even more absurd, Vance once called Trump America's Hitler. Yet, here he is, now Trump's running mate, caught in a cringe-worthy position, forced to defend the very man he once harshly criticized. The irony is almost too much to handle. Trump's camp has gone from drain the swamp to embrace the swamp so fast, even their own supporters are scratching their heads. Meanwhile, as MAGA ramps up the fear-mongering and empty threats of litigation, Harris is laser-focused on what matters most: winning the election and moving the country forward. At her core, Harris is a fighter with a strong track record of prosecuting predators and fraudsters. If anyone's prepared to take on Trump and his running mate, it's her. And she's doing it with a level of calm determination that stands in stark contrast to the shouting and chaos over in Trump world. Remember the Harris-Pence debate from 2020? It was one of the most memorable moments of the election season, with Kamala Harris taking command of the stage and effortlessly shutting Pence down with the now iconic line, "I'm speaking." That simple phrase became a cultural touchstone, resonating with women everywhere who have had to assert themselves in the face of interruption. It was a moment that seemed almost tailor-made for the political climate we're in now, where Harris, once again, is asserting herself as a strong, unshakable force, while the Trump camp scrambles to keep up.
And I want to add, but if, Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. It is asking too much of the people.
Susan, we talked about this.
It is asking too much of the people.
Well, Susan, thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on
well,
to the
thank
issue
you,
of
but I would like to go back.
In 1864.
Well, I'd like you to answer the question.
Mr. Vice President.
Harris is speaking, and boy, are people listening. With her campaign raising a record-breaking $81 million in just 24 hours, she's not just commanding the debate stage anymore. She's commanding the political stage. The contrast between her well-organized, progressive vision for America and Trump's chaotic, insult-laden rally circuit couldn't be starker. While Harris outlines clear policies aimed at uniting and uplifting the country, Trump and his team are busy throwing out childish insults and stirring up fear. So while jdvance continues to make awkward jokes about Diet Mountain Dew and struggle to keep the crowd awake, Kamala Harris is out there raising millions, rallying support, and making it clear she's ready to take the fight directly to Trump and his lackluster VP pick. And if the MAGA camp's meltdown is anything to go by, they know they're up against a formidable opponent. As we head into 2024, the battle between Harris's disciplined, justice-focused campaign and Trump's circus of civil war threats and bizarre insults is shaping up to be one for the history books. It's Kamala Harris versus Trump's MAGA machine, and with every unhinged rally, every lawsuit threat, and every awkward jdvance moment, it's becoming clearer that the Democrats are in a strong position to take the lead. The only question left is, will MAGA implode before the election, or will Harris simply outmaneuver them every step of the way? And that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Drop a comment below, let's talk about it, and I'll see you in the next video.